Yeah, motion to pass the minutes of the March 31st, 2026. Commissioner Lee, motion. I second, all in favor? Aye. And I get a motion to pass the minutes of the April 9th, 2026 CPCRC meeting. Motion. I second, all in favor? Aye. I now like to turn it over to Larry Lowe, supervisor of the downstate unit for variances.
Good morning, Chair Canty. Good morning, Commissioner Haynes. I'm presenting before you this morning variance request for sections 7004.1 and 7004.3 regarding incoming correspondence. The first eight, which are listed as letters A through H and are for the scanning of incoming correspondence. The facilities are requesting to be allowed to continue such variances as it helps them to reduce the introduction of contraband into their facilities. It is recommended that they be approved until January 1st, 2027 with the listed 20 conditions.
We're gonna mention what some of those conditions are.
So we're talking about with them is for non-privileged correspondence, any company envelope may be photocopied and provided to the recipient prisoner. The original non-privileged incoming correspondence in the company envelope shall be placed in the recipient prisoner's personal property. The second one will be the facility shall ensure that any general or legal privilege correspondence received by the vendor is not to be opened and must immediately be forwarded to the facility. If any such correspondence is opened in error, it is to be immediately forwarded to the facility. The third one is incoming general legal privilege correspondence may only be opened and inspected for contraband in the presence of the recipient prisoner. The fourth condition is outside the presence of the recipient prisoner, the facility may use drug detecting device to scan incoming general legal privilege correspondence for illicit drugs without opening the envelope. In this instance, where the envelope must be opened in order to perform such scan, the opening and scanning of the envelope must occur only while in the presence of the recipient prisoner. The fifth condition is incoming general legal privilege correspondence in accompanying envelope may only be photocopied in the presence of the recipient prisoner. The original incoming general legal privilege correspondence and accompanying envelope shall, in the presence of the recipient prisoner, be placed in a sealed envelope in a manner that does not allow the correspondence to be read and thereafter secured in the recipient prisoner's personal property. The scanning of incoming general legal privilege correspondence is strictly prohibited. Condition 6, as long as the facility continues to scan incoming non-privileged correspondence, all incarcerated individuals shall be provided at no cost with an electronic device which permits them to access incoming digital correspondence. At the facility's discretion, a fee may be imposed through the incarcerated individual commissary to those who opt to access other features, i.e. movies, digital books, emails, etc. on such devices. The seventh condition, except during times when electronic devices are required, charging or loss of such devices as a result of a disciplinary hearing, incarcerated individuals shall be permitted to possess such devices at all times. The eighth condition, any incarcerated individual who loses access to such electronic device as part of a disciplinary sanction or for any other reason shall be provided paper photocopies of all incoming previously received correspondence for that duration of such deprivation. Ninth condition, the facility shall prohibit the vendor from reading any correspondence it receives. 10th condition, incoming general legal privilege correspondence shall continue to be forwarded to the facility directly by the USPS, United States Postal Service, and is not to be part of the vendor searching and scanning process. The 11th condition, cash, checks, or money orders discovered by the vendor shall be secured and immediately forwarded to the Chief Administrative Officer for disposition in accordance with facility rules and regulations. 12th condition, incoming correspondence that is found by the vendor to contain contraband shall be forwarded to the Chief Administrative Officer for disposition. 13th condition. Prior to the vendor forwarding correspondence to the facility, scanning for illicit drugs shall be completed. 14th condition. Approval of this variance does not relieve the facility from its duty to comply with the United States Postal Service's regulations and statutes. 15th condition. Except for incoming, non-general, and legal privilege correspondence forwarded to the Chief Administrative Officer, the facility shall make available correspondence for incarcerated individuals view within 1 business day of delivery by the United States Postal Service. 16th condition. The facility shall ensure that incarcerated individuals are provided at no cost the opportunity to A, be provided with the original correspondence and enclosed contents, i.e. photos, cards, etc., that are non-criminal in nature, immediately upon release, transfer from the facility. And B, be permitted to designate a person or persons who may obtain such original correspondence from the facility. Condition 17, the facility shall provide incarcerated individuals the opportunity to have their original correspondence forwarded to a third party. Condition 18, all relevant protocols concerning the photocopying of correspondence shall be included in the facility's incarcerated individual rulebook. If the rulebook is not yet scheduled for reprinting, such information shall be posted conspicuously in all housing areas until such reprinting has been completed and issued. Condition 19, any costs associated with the correspondence photocopying programs shall be borne by the facility and not through the use of commissary profits. And condition 20, the facility shall ensure that all correspondence related reportable incidents are submitted to the commission in accordance with Part 7022 reportable incidents.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
When we go to the facilities to check on these things, do we look to see that what's coming up on the tablet is readable and of good quality?
We do ask for examples on there so that we can see what's being sent. And then you had a request previously to see if things were in colors, they were verified and things are coming across in color as well.
Thanks.
And again, that's not to say that every single one is like we only do test samples for them. So they should be coming through unless there was complications or something going on or inappropriate scan or something.
Great, thank you. Any other questions? Can I get a motion?
Motion?
I second, all in favor?
All right, continuing on now for convenience, I'm grouping letters I through Z and Z1 through Z20. Remembering that our scanning, there was 8 of them. With the photocopying, there's 38 facilities that have the which are for the photocopying of incoming correspondence. The facilities are requesting to be allowed to continue the variance as it helps them reduce the introduction of contraband through incoming correspondence. It is recommended that the variance be approved until January 1st of 2027 with the 12 listed conditions for those. And they're just similar as the 20 conditions is set for the photocopying instead of scanning.
Do any of them, this came up because I was at federal prison on Sunday, where if photos are sent from a company that's approved vendor where people could have the actual photographs that are not coming through the regular mail, do any of them use that process? There's a place called like, I don't know, Fix Photo something or other where, you can upload your photos to this company, like a approved commissary place where you get packages from, and then they make the photos and then they send them, and because they're not coming from regular correspondence, they're allowed. Is there, do you know whether any of our jails?
So I'm thinking something like that, right? If it's not coming in through mail correspondence, then it wouldn't be correspondence, they would consider it a package. So if it comes in as a package, right, we have in our standards, the requirement allowing the facility to be able to use a third-party vendor. That's normal course of business is the selling and packaging of items and sending it in, and it can be sent into the facility. But again, that would be treated different than something that's coming in through the mail as correspondence.
Okay.
Yeah, if it's a pack, we could survey the sheriff's office or the sheriff's association, survey all the sheriff's officers if there's something we want to get.
Yeah, people really like that a lot because it was, they actually got an actual photo and it didn't come through the mail. So, and it was a trusted vendor.
Mhm.
So I just thought, they might not even know about that at some of the jails, but it'd be nice.
Any other questions?
No.
Can I get a motion?
Motion.
I second, all in favor?
Aye.
I'm gonna turn it over to Renee Supervisor of the youth unit.
Morning, Chair, Commissioner. Item D21, New York City ACS is requesting renewal of the temporary bed variance at the Horizon SSD. The request includes the same 43 temporary beds in housing areas and 25 temporary beds in classroom areas as requested previously. Commission staff have reviewed their application and recommend approval of 43 housing area beds, which is an increase from the 37 at prior approval as a bathroom renovation project was completed, and recommend such approval until October 1st, 2026 for this 9 previously established stipulations. We are not recommending classroom areas due to the previously noted staff deficiencies, which continues per the daily staffing rosters received.
And Rich, just this is with the J Hall added.
Yes.
So of note, in the write-ups, J Hall wasn't added. We had
It was the-
Yeah, they finished it, so we're good with now with the J Hall back in.
Okay.
Are they still having recruiting problems in terms of staff? Are they?
We can talk about that in the executive session if you'd like. Just as far as staffing, it would get into some security issues, so that would have to be, we'd have to wait for executive session on that to talk some staffing specifics.
Any other questions? Any motion?
Motion.
I second, all in favor?
All right, and then item Z22, New York City ACS is also requesting renewal of temporary bed variance at Crossroads SSD. This request includes the same 39 temporary beds in housing areas and 30 temporary beds in classroom areas as last time. Commission staff reviewed the application, recommend approval of the same 39 housing area beds until October 1st, 2026 with the same 9 previously established stipulations. And we do not recommend the classroom areas for the same reasons.
Second, all in favor? Aye.
Thank
I get a motion to go to executive session. Second, all in favor? Aye. Okay, and can I bring a motion to exit executive session? Motion. I second, all in favor? Can I get a motion about actions taken in executive session? I second, all in favor? Aye. Now I'm gonna turn it over to Senior Attorney Jane Jessamine for regulatory review.
Thank you, Chair Commissioner. Before the Commission is the 5-year regulatory review for the rules adopted by the Commission in 2001, 2006, 2011, 2016, and 2021. They consist of the amendment of subdivision A of section 7028.2 and subdivision C of section 7028.4, which is needed to clarify the situations when outdoor exercise at local correctional facilities may be canceled. The amendment of section 7621.6, renumbered 7621.7 to 7621.11, to be 7621.8 to 7621.12, and addition of new section 7621.7, which is needed to provide minimum standards for the use of double occupancy housing units originally designated and constructed for double occupancy. The amendment of section 7003.10, which is needed to extend the intervals within which locks and securing devices must be inspected. The amendment of section 7063.6, which is needed to extend the intervals within which certain chemical agents must be inspected. The amendment of sections 7022.3, 7022.4, 7406.3, 7406.4, and 7508.2, which is needed to allow electronic filing of reportable incidents to the Commission of Correction. The amendment of section 7320.4C, which is needed to amend the ratio of toilet, sink, and showers in specialized secure detention facility for older youth facilities to coincide with Office of Children and Family Services regulations. We have invited the public to comment on these amendments, and none were received. After review of these regulations, it has been determined that these regulations are necessary to provide a safe, stable, and humane correctional system in New York State. It is recommended that they be continued.
Motion. Second, all in favor? Aye.
I have a question. When we put out for public comment, how do people know that it's just on our website? They know, or is there some other?
Published in the state registry.
Is there registry?
Any other questions, concerns?
About that?
No, just general.
In general, no, I just wanted to share, I know we talk a lot about construction and facilities, but I just wanted to share that I'm going to the Urban Land Institute Awards Gala for Excellence in Adaptive Reuse we were nominated for when we closed the Fulton Correctional Facility My former organization, Osborne, was given a facility to redevelop as a community reentry center, which gave me more than I wanted to know about how prisons were constructed because we had to unconstruct it. But we were nominated for this award for adaptive reuse. And so when I was on the Prison Redevelopment Commission, there's, a lot of prisons that are still unused, that were closed. And fortunately, it's not our job to figure out what to do with them. But as we, continue our work, it's really interesting to see what the possibilities are. Unfortunately, Mount McGregor is being used for ghost tours, but there's probably some more ability that we could be thinking about for using facilities as they close. But I was just kind of proud of that. Jackie Gray was now state operations. She was the one that kind of made us happen in the city when she was in the Department of Homeless Services, figure out how to recreate a prison. So it's, for men over 55 who have served at least 7 out of the last 10 years incarcerated to come home to the world.
Good job. So, nothing else, I get a motion for adjournment. I second, all in favor. Thank you.